Hi Stampers, it's Madeline from stampwithmadelyn.com, and I am doing part 3 of alternatives from this month's Paper Pumpkin, which was giftable greetings. And just so you know, until September 10th, you can get next month's Paper Pumpkin for half off, you lucky ducks. Your first month will be half off, and then you'll get to see what amazing surprises come in the mail every month with this amazing kit. So this is part 3 of my alternatives. I had some fun with some vellum that I wanted to share with you, and don't miss it. But next, coming up, the next alternative video I'll be doing is an envelope album using this Paper Pumpkin box, so don't miss it. Make sure to hit that red subscribe button so that you get alerted when that comes on. Okay, so today I am going to show you how to make these adorably easy cards using vellum. So vellum is something that's on my online store that I will have over on my blog, so make sure to check the link down below and see all the supplies, additional supplies that I've used to make these alternatives. This is vellum cardstock, and I love it because it's not exactly see-through, but it's enough where color filters through it, and we can stamp on this with our permanent ink memento. So make sure to check that out over on my online store. So first, I am going to do a similar technique that we did over on my part 2 video, where we're going to make our own background with the fun stamps that came in this month's Paper Pumpkin giftable greetings. So I'm going to tell you what supplies you'll need for this. In addition to the Paper Pumpkin kit, I'm using Peekaboo Peach, and it's 4.5 by 5.5. And then I'm using a piece of vellum cardstock, and again, that is the same size as our cardstock, so 4.5 by 5.5. And then I'm using a little oval from our Layering Ovals framelits that you can use with our Big Shot. And I'm going to be using Calypso Coral ink for the sentiment, and the sentiment and the stamp in the background is from the Paper Pumpkin kit. And also this really nice ribbon is in our Paper Pumpkin kit as well. I will be using a hole punch, just a regular hole punch, that will make it so that we can thread this ribbon through the card just like that. Alright, so let's get started with this. First, I'm going to be using the half flower stamp that is in the kit. So Paper Pumpkin is amazing, and if you haven't checked out my first 2 videos for this month, make sure to go over to my YouTube page and check them out. The first video is all about this kit, and it also has a bunch of alternatives, and then I have part 2 which has some more alternatives, and then this one. And like I said, I'll be doing an envelope album next, which I'm really excited to share with you. So Paper Pumpkin has these awesome stamp set that no one else gets except for the Paper Pumpkin subscribers, and I love it because you can use this for years to come. So we are going to be using the half flower, and I'm going to be using actually a few more inks: Wild Wasabi, Marina Mist, and also Calypso Coral. And again, I'll have all of this over on my blog so you can click the link and see it on my online store 24/7. So first, I'm going to start with the Wild Wasabi, and these are half flowers. So like I did in my previous video, we're going to have to stamp this flower twice to get the full design. So I'm just going to do about 3 flowers of these, and I didn't stamp a middle on this, but you can if you'd like. So just 3 in this Wild Wasabi, and then I'll be going back with Calypso Coral next. And if you do any mistakes or they don't come out as clear as you want, like right here, you can always go back with the next color and do something over it so then it won't be noticeable. Okay, now we're going to move on to the Calypso Coral. So just make sure to wipe off your stamps so you don't mix your inks. I'm going to be using my stamp scrubber, which makes this easy for me. I'm just wiping on the wet side. So you use our stamp cleaner that sprays right onto this, and I have it in a little spritzer here. I spray it right onto this pad and wipe it off and then dry it. And it works effortlessly. Alright, Calypso Coral next. So again, this is a very similar technique from my first video, but what I love about it is what the vellum adds to it. I just love the vellum. And you'll see the second card that we're going to be doing is going to be a new technique that I'm going to show you that I can't wait to share. that I've seen on a few different Pinterest posts and on the Paper Pumpkin Facebook group. So another good thing is if you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you can head over to Paper Pumpkin Facebook. I can put a link below, and it's only for Paper Pumpkin subscribers, and you get to see all the fun things that people have made, alternatives, different techniques. So you'll definitely want to be a part of that if you become a Paper Pumpkin subscriber. Okay, I'm cleaning off my stamp, and the last color we're going to be doing is Marina Mist. So this will be the last color. So when you're doing the last color, you want to look for empty places that need a stamp. And that's where I will be stamping. And I'm on my piercing mat because these are really nice photopolymer stamp sets, and you need that foam pad underneath just to make it a nice crisp image. And I am getting some ink onto my pierce mat, so just make sure to use a baby wipe and wipe that off. That way it doesn't get onto your next project. Okay. All right, so we're done with these colors except for Calypso Coral. So I'm going to take that oval that I had, and that is from the Layering Ovals framelits that you can use with your Big Shot. And we're going to be stamping the "You Did It" sentiment in Calypso Coral onto this oval. And then it's just putting the card together. It's a nice quick card. So make sure you get nice and inked up. Center it as best you can onto this oval. There we go. Okay, so now it's putting the card together. So you want to have your piece of vellum and your background that we just made on Peekaboo Peach. Line it up the best you can and take your hole punch, and we're going to hole punch 2 holes here pretty close together. There we go. Now, we're not using any adhesive to put this together. We're using the ribbon that came with our box. So here is the ribbon that came with our box. I am going to twine it in here from the front, going back and then coming out this way. That way I can cut off any excess that I don't need. Okay, so tie it twice before you cut. That way you know that you have enough. And you want enough where you can cut it nicely so it looks like a nice end of a bow. And you can adjust this. The vellum is pretty durable, which is really nice. Okay, that is exactly how I want it. So now you want to take your snips and just cut it. You'll need really sharp scissors for this. Cut it nicely on an angle like the end of a bow. Just like that. And then we're going to use some mini dimensionals. And I am obsessed with these. I love them. I like that they're much littler, so I'm able to use them on different framelits that I wasn't able to previously. So they're really versatile, which, like everything else that we use, is. And these Paper Pumpkin alternatives are the most fun that I get out of the subscription because there's so much that we can do with it. And there we go. And then you would just attach this to a card base and you'd be all set. You could do a message inside. You could add another flower on the inside. Anything you'd like. This is just the card front. Or you could just send it like this and do your message on the back. It's totally up to you. So that's the first card. Wasn't that quick and easy? Now is the new technique I want to show you, which I'm really excited about. So here is our card. I want to do it in a little bit more of a subtle color because it is a sympathy card. So we're doing Pool Party as the background. So here is Pool Party. It's 4.5 by 5.5. And then again, you want a vellum piece that is the same size, 4.5 by 5.5. And I'm going to show you a new technique using sponge daubers. So in your kit, after you punch out your flowers from this cutout, you can then use the inside to make this fun design in the background, and it's super easy. So all you need in an extra is either sponges or sponge daubers. I'm going to use sponge daubers. So we are going to use the same colors, but they're going to look so different on Pool Party than they did on Peekaboo Peach. I just love them. So let's do Wild Wasabi first. And again, I'm going for the rule of 3 and doing about 3 flowers and then seeing if there's any openings that I want to get more of. So my recommendation is to either put a scrap piece of paper behind, or if you're on a mat that you can clean off like I am, it's totally fine, but you may get a little bit extra off the sides. Okay, so I'm using a sponge dauber. I label all my sponge daubers so I can reuse them over and over again. I am going to lay out one flower that you can tell I've used before, and it's for the Wild Wasabi. I'm going to tap up and down with my sponge dauber and just go to town in here. You want to be gentle because the card underneath can move. So I am very gentle, but if you hold everything down, it does pretty good. But see how it just moved? So you have to be very gentle. Just line everything back up and go back at it. And I love this technique. Everything in the Paper Pumpkin kit is reusable. Even this that might be going for the trash, you can use and make a whole new design with. Look how cute that is. Okay, so now I'm going to go down a little bit. You could make it very dark if you wanted to. You could make it very light. It's totally up to you. Again, this is kind of like creating your own DSP again, like our first card. And I love that. Total creativity is in your hands. All right, and let's do a third one. So again, Paper Pumpkin is half off next month. I can't believe it. It is a great deal and you don't want to miss it. It is a box that comes in your mailbox that you will love. Every single piece of it is amazing. I love the surprise. I really do. I don't look anywhere on Facebook or anything until I get my box because I love that element of surprise. And it's always a good surprise. It's always something that sparks my creativity that I can bring anywhere I'd like. That's what I love. If you go camping, you can bring this with you and it has everything you need. It also gives you a clear block so that you can use the stamps right away. Okay, so that's it for Wild Wasabi. I'm now going to go to Marina Mist. So again, I'm changing the flower I'm using. So change your flowers depending on what color you're using. You don't want to go over the green with pink or blue because it might transfer. So I'm going to Marina Mist. You want to get out your sponge dauber that is for Marina Mist. And I am going to overlap with some of the flowers. I like the look that that gives. So I'm just filling in this flower. And there, ooh. So yeah, look, you have to be careful with that. Ooh. But what I love about it is it lines right back up. So even if it slips out of your hand, no worries. You can get it right back where you need it to. All right. So I'm going to do 2 more of these blue ones. Just kind of have them staggered here. While you're doing this, the little in-betweens of the flower do want to pop up. So kind of go in the direction of them. That way they, if these weren't there, you wouldn't have as much of an indent for every petal. So you kind of want to go in the motion of those. That way, you want to go in the motion of those. That way you have that actual flower. Always go back to your ink pad and really get some ink onto your sponge dauber. All right, and then our last color is going to be Calypso Coral. So I'm going to go in with Calypso Coral and kind of go in the center of things. And again, Probably I'll do 4 of these just to fill in the blanks. Don't always do the full flower. It's nice to do little halves on the sides, even, because then you get more, it just looks more natural. Okay, and then I'm going to do a last one up here. There we go. So there's all of our flowers. You do see that I got a little bit on my mat, so you want to make sure that you get all of that off so that it doesn't transfer onto our project. Okay, and then it's just putting this together and stamping onto our vellum. So now that we have the background all set, you want to get your pierce pad out and take your vellum, and you're going to use permanent ink. So Memento is the permanent ink that we have now. I have Stays On, that retired. I'm waiting on my Memento to get here. But they both do the same exact thing. It's just so that the ink doesn't smudge. So I'm using the Very Much Sympathy stamp on the paper pumpkin block that I got with my kit, which you'll get too for your first month for free. That way it'll fit any stamp that comes in the paper pumpkin kit, which is awesome. So I'm just getting nice and inked on this stamp, and I'm going to center it. Push down for 3 seconds. Oops. Okay. So at least with Stays On, and I think with Memento, it is very sticky, which is okay. So I did mess up on this, but it's not a big deal. You can easily cut another piece of vellum. With vellum, it is a little bit harder, I've noticed, to cut than the regular paper. So let me show you. You just have to be easy with it. So I'm just going to get my trimmer out. Go on to 4 1/4, just hold everything down. Go very slow in one motion. And then again at 5 1/2. There we go. Just going slow and pushing really hard onto your blade will get a nice crisp edge for you. Okay, so let's give that another go. So again, just the stickiness, you want to hold on to your block. So get it nice and inked. Get it right in the center where you want it. And usually, there we go. Usually it's double-sided, so we can just go on the back if we mess up, but with vellum, because it is semi-see-through, you would have to do another piece, which is no big deal. We got it to look the way I want it to. Okay, so now we're putting this card together. You want to give it a second to dry. So just line up your vellum so it's nice and even. And you just want to, again, we're doing the same thing. We're punching 2 holes on the top. And that's what's going to hold the card together. On my example here, I didn't do a bow. I just did like the other side of it. It's totally up to you. So I'm going to do the same thing as my example card. You just want to feed it in. So for this one, we're going to feed from the back forward and then go into the front to back here. That way we just want a little bit of this ribbon coming out and make it look the way that we want it to. Just like that. And then I'm actually going to use glue dots in order to put this down. So there are glue dots that came in the box. There's also dimensionals that came in the box. Whatever you want to use to put this down. But I'm just using my glue dots from my collection to put this down. And then you want to cut off the excess. And I'm going to cut the excess off on this side too, just so it has a clean edge. Okay, so there is the second card with that technique that I was so excited to show you, that I've been seeing on Facebook and Pinterest and all of that. I hope you liked this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you did. Again, Paper Pumpkin is having that great sale where you can get half off your first box, which is awesome. You will not regret it. And I am telling you, every kit is a great surprise in the mail. So below is my Paper Pumpkin store link. I hope you click over there and check it out 24/7. But it is only available until September 10th. So you do not want to miss this deal. Again, I have another alternative video coming up that's going to be an envelope mini album that we're going to use from supplies from our Paper Pumpkin this month. So make sure to hit that red subscribe button so that you can get alerts for the next video. And for now, keep stamping, Stampers. Thanks for watching. Bye.